Yeah, they're all same core belief systems. If you look at that, it's all about being a decent human being. That's it. What is so what is so nouveau about that? Be a decent human being, and that's it. You know, I mean,
And this is about
don't shit on your neighbor.
this
Don't
is
do this stuff with somebody else. What you wouldn't do to have what you wouldn't want done to you. That kind of thing. Common courtesy. It's all across the board. It's just being a decent human being the way you're supposed to be. You don't need all these righteous people telling you this. Nobody needs that. You just have to know. You know it as a human being. It's innate. It comes with everyone is born with it. You don't need to tell. You don't need to tell these people how to not be a shitty human being, and they should help each other out, and everyone is here to help each other out and get and see each other through whatever kind of turmoil is going on, to help each other, whatever, community, that kind of thing, resources, pooling together, making things better for that shit is, you're born with that shit. You're born with it as a human being. But yeah, people are going to be greedy and all that. It's just, humans are just shitty. That's it. Humans are shitty, and there's anything. The only thing worse than a shitty human is a shittier human being, and nobody's perfect. And that's just it. So I think that because all these the three major religions, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, they preach the whole love, compassion, doing good deeds, giving praise to one entity. Okay, I don't want to say God. I was entity. I mean, having believing in a higher power, I should say. Believing. They all preach the same exact principle as far as that's concerned, and then they branch off and do their own thing individually. But why? For what? For what reason? I don't think that one religion is better than the other. I think that basically, yeah, humans are gonna be shitty, and you have these entities that say, oh, you know what, we can control these shitty humans by doing this, or by putting this, or by saying this, or implementing this, or creating this, and then it just goes from there into some religious, I don't know, some religious mill wherever, and they just decide that, oh, okay, we're going to implement this, and this, and we're going to use this, and Jesus and this, and dying on the cross, and Muhammad and his warpath, and his ascension, and or ascension to heaven, and whatever, whether it's true or whether it's evidence and all of that, it all can be debatable. So why even feed into that debate? Why? For me, there's, I don't see why I would feed into that debate, where I know, like, if all I'm doing is following the core principles of all three of them combined together, then I'm good. But no, society wants to say, oh, you have to do this, and this, and you have to wear this, and this, and you have to say this, and this, and everybody's put into these fucking groups, and they're all fucking shitty humans, all of them.
Okay. If I can ask a couple of questions to make sure that we understand what you're saying 100%. What you and your belief, or upon what it is that you are, is a combination of all three cores of these specific religions. You mentioned Jesus on the cross, you mentioned Muhammad and his warpath, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because that, and you, just to make sure, you are a former military man. So when you say warpath, you do mean that he had a military career. We will get to that part, but we want to make sure that we bring in these elements that you spoke of. And then you went to the point to say the debate. And you went to say, why should we give the debate, which is a question because it started with a why, right? So that particular question, we will see to answering it somehow, inshallah, before we leave. So the first question I had specifically is if you believe that there is one sole creator of all of these religions, yes or no? It's a yes or no question, sir.
The question is, do I believe that there's a one sole creator of all religions?
Correct.
I don't believe that there's one sole creator of all religions, no.
Okay.
You're mistaken, Tim.
Okay. So you actually believe that there is more than one creator. You believe that there's more than one originator. Is that what you're saying? You believe that?
My words were specifically that I believe in a higher power.
So actually you do believe that that higher power exists. Is actually...
I believe.
Okay, not only that higher power exists, but that higher power is the originator, the creator of everything. Do you believe that?
Do I believe that it's the creator?
Yes or no?
Do I believe there's... Yes.
Okay, all right, let's move on to the military aspect of it, okay? You did study the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, correct?
Did I study him? Yeah, I studied him.
Thank you very much. And can you elaborate on the various military expeditions he himself oversaw during his military period?
Against the Persian Empire, against the are you talking about the early wars, the Rida Wars?
As early as you can go. As early as you can go, that he actually participated in, military expedition wise, in his prophethood.
The reason why I'm asking is, are you asking after Medina was declared the capital of the Islamic military might? Like
okay. Well, let's say after Hijrah. In other words,
okay,
this
so after
is
Hijrah.
after
This
Hijrah.
was after. This was okay.
After the migration to Medina. You mentioned that. Thank you very much.
That's okay. Right. Yeah, the first one I can remember was the Rida Wars.
Okay.
After that, there was the very first expedition, I believe.
Would you be surprised to say that after the Hijriya, there were multiple military activities due to the intelligence in the network surveillance directed by the Prophet ﷺ to make sure that he monitored the surroundings of the routes from Mecca to Sham, making sure that he stayed a step ahead as well as protected the defenses of the, as you mentioned, capital of the Muslims, which was Medina, correct?
Right.
Very good. Now, let me ask you this.
Those were the Rida Wars. So basically, I'm talking about the conquest.
Let me ask you, you keep saying the Rida Wars, and you said the Rida Wars multiple times. Mm-hmm. What is the meaning of what is the definition of Rida War?
The Rida War, to my understanding, and I could be wrong, were early skirmishes between the Muslims and neighboring tribes that were trying to destabilize the current Islamic State.
Okay, so I think that you will want to somehow clarify, just as you did, as far as, yes, they were rebels because at that time they were refusing the oath of allegiance to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Yeah, I'm not talking about those.
But now,
they were military expeditions.
Okay.
I got that.
All right. Yes, they were military expeditions, and we're only saying that because the most famous Rida wars that are known actually do not take place during the lifetime of the Prophet alayhi salam. Rida wars took place after the lifetime of the Prophet because they raised up against Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. And they had assembled 11 different branches, and they were all to attack Medina all at one time. Now remember, during the Prophet ﷺ, there was the Battle of the Trench, where 10,000 gathered to attack Medina, but then they applied the Sassanid tactic of digging the ditch, so that in the section, they were able to dig it in a section, the only section that they could enter Medina with cavalry.
Yeah, I was mostly referring to, and to get back on topic, I was mostly referring to the conquest after, say starting with Abu Bakr, like how with going into Syria.
So the important thing here before we go to see now, those are actually. Let's stick with the Prophet ﷺ's military career, because this is the topic of this discussion.
I wasn't talking about the Prophet, his own personal military career. I was talking about Islam and the Islamic.
We're getting there, but you have to understand that if you say Islam, the pure Islam, if it's without the military career of the Prophet ﷺ, then it is not Islam. Because so many, you're talking about half of the Prophet ﷺ's prophethood. And imagine how much Quran was revealed at that time to prepare the Muslims, to strengthen the Muslims. We're not idiots here. We know what we're doing. So understand something, okay? We're talking about the Prophet ﷺ. We're talking about the Shahadatu an la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The thing about it is this. The Prophet ﷺ's military career has to be very well understood by everyone who has taken the Shahada. Are you kidding me?
His military career and his under his leadership, under his banner, okay, under his guide on, okay, was impeccable. I'm not. I don't have any. To me, it was perfect.
Perfect.
Yes. As far as the only loss was, and it really can't be blamed on him. Was
you know what I loved about
Uhud was Uhud.
Okay. Oh, the Battle of Uhud. Right. We need to listen to that Battle of Uhud. The best. You know who I love the best? The action that I love best of Abu Dujana. Wallahi al-Azim, Abu Dujana, man. The Prophet ﷺ, when he rallied up the Sahabas on the day of Uhud, and he held the sword that he brought out, and he said, "Who will take this sword and give it its rights?" All the Sahabas, including Hamza, came forth. Sa'd ibn, all of the Sahabas, Abdullah, you understand, came forth. Oh, so many Abdullahs and Abdurrahmans came forth, man.
No.
And he gave it to none. And then Abu Dujana asked him, "What is the right of the sword?" He said,
"No, I understand the military career, the military might."
That's the Battle of Uhud. Or the coalition forces.
But I'm mostly referring to like after, because in my humble opinion, I think that if he were alive at the time, say of when Umar was a Khalifa, I think that the decisions based on him as an individual, as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, would have been way different. And I mean, because Omar was he was a warrior, bro.
They were all
No, but Omar was on a different level.
They were all.
No, Omar. That's all he did was fight, man. He was on a war path. Study. No, I want you to hold on a second. Each Khalifa from Abu Bakr, Omar, Uthman, and Ali, all four of them specialized in one particular thing. Okay, and Omar's was war.
Let me explain something.
And all he wanted to do was conquer under his banner. Okay, that was his mindset, and from start to finish, he.
Let me explain something.
I mean, as a general and a commander, man, the guy was just.
Well, you have to understand.
I mean, and here and to his, his credit, he did have.
Do you know?
They were a force to be reckoned with. They were some conquerors.
You mentioned Khalid ibn al-Walid.
They were conquerors.
Okay, but just
he had Khalid ibn Walid. He had Abu. Then he had
Abu Ubaidah.
Abu Ubaidah.
Okay. So let's talk about something.
Those guys, it was over, bro.
Let's talk
that's all they did was conquer.
Well, hold on a second.
That's all they did was conquer.
We don't want to get ahead of ourselves here.
No, I'm just telling you. I know what I'm talking about. So I don't base what I say
we need to understand.
That's what I'm saying.
We need to understand that the Prophet ﷺ.
These kids and stuff.
Well, you have their phone, right? She can bring them upstairs.
Man, I want to get out of this house, man. I don't like staying in here all that much, if you haven't noticed.
You need me?
I don't need you. You can stay.
Well,
I'll be back. We could talk later. But, yeah. We can